Obviously, an excitement for you guys. David talked about, keeping some guys on that to transition from the old to the new and understand it all. What does that transition mean to you guys? What is that exactly?
Yeah, I think me in particular, I'm a good candidate kind of for that role. I've been here, this is my 5th year in total. So I've kind of seen how the club works, what's expected of me. I've played with David, so I think in that regard we have a lot of mutual respect for each other. And I'm just someone that can kind of instill his values. Just for me, it's obviously a little bit more familiar, like I said, being around for 4 years and having probably a pretty close relationship with David. It gives me the opportunity, again, to just instill those values in some of the new guys, as obviously there's a lot of turnover, a lot of change, a lot of new guys coming in. So, as David mentioned, it's important to have a few guys, myself included, just to pass along those values and the things that it means to play for him and to play for this club.
So what's new? What's different? What do you guys want to be different? What is this transition for you guys?
Yeah, it's very progressive in how we're doing things. It's a lot of new technology coming into the club. It's a lot of new tactics from the coaching staff. A lot of new ideas. Things that are just kind of moving along with the modern game is coming here to Richmond and to our club. So. And I think you'll see it in terms of the style of play. We saw it a little bit last year, but obviously without the results, there's a little bit more of a semblance of a style of play that we'll look to build on. So I think that will be the biggest and most noticeable change. And then again, just with the technology that's coming in terms of just doing a little bit more work with the film and some of the other things that can help this club move forward is definitely coming along.
I hear new, I hear change. We haven't heard this in a while, I guess, for the team. For a guy that's been here a while, how much of that, I guess, how is that a good thing for the organization? New ownership group, you can say new old coach, new players, new technology. How can that recharge a group or some guys that have been here for a while?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the fresh blood, whether it's the ownership group, the new coaching staff. This is David's first full year. Obviously came in about halfway through last year, but having a full preseason to get ideas and to get a tactical system down, I think will help a lot. And just, as I mentioned, just the new change in terms of technology, keeping up with the modern game in terms of the way we practice and train and go about playing, will be all the new things that kind of come in and are involved with the club going forward.
How, you mentioned the preseason. He was thrown in the fire last preseason,
yeah.
Speaking of David. How big is that for you guys to be acclimated with him for a full off season and for him to be acclimated now with almost a brand new team?
Yeah, I think with any coach, they definitely deserve that full preseason, that full chance to kind of pick their own players and pick their own style a little bit. When you get thrown into the deep end, there's only so much you can do in terms of instilling a new culture, and especially when it's not necessarily your pick of the players. So getting a bunch of the new guys in and having a little bit more say in the selection process, I think goes a long way. And then obviously on the field stuff in terms of you get a full 7 weeks to kind of work out the kinks. So, at this point, there's no excuses for us. We need to hit the ground running.
He was on the last Kickers team that won a championship. Yeah, what does that mean to you guys to have a coach that's been here? Kind of, he referenced the glory days. I mean, to who understands that maybe more than many do about what it takes to succeed here, and a guy who's actually done it.
Yeah, obviously, his playing career kind of speaks for itself in terms of the success he's had and the longevity he's had as a player. So just, again, for me, it's a little bit easier because I've known him as a player and as a coach. But I think in terms of all the guys, we're all taking to him and taking to his ideas. Being a young coach and someone that was as successful as he was as a player is pretty easy to take to, and it allows the relationships to develop a lot easier than maybe things would in the past.
How has your role changed?
I think for me, kind of what I touched on earlier, the biggest thing for me is I need to find value in as many things as I can, coming towards hopefully not the last part of my career, but as I get a little bit older, I need to find value in instilling values and instilling the things that I can use with my experience. This is going to be my 10th year as a pro. So I started when I was 18. I have to kind of add value to myself by being someone that sets the standard every day in terms of training, the culture. Things like that are something that I've always taken pride in. And I know that that needs to be my role just as much as the on the field stuff in terms of playing every week.
The new league that you guys are in. What was, I guess, some of the thoughts about it when you heard the news, and I guess what are some noticeable changes that you will see and the team will see with this new league?
Yeah, for us, I think when we first heard about it, there's obviously a lot of unknown to it. There's been a little bit of having 3 tiers of professional soccer in the U.S. for a while, but kind of not all under one umbrella the way it is now with the USL Championship and the USL League One. So for us, I think, it's going to be a new process, getting to know new teams. Pretty much all the teams we'll have never seen before, but with a 10-team league, you get to know teams pretty quickly. So the scouting department and kind of just being aware of tendencies will be a big part of it. So there is a little bit of, again, that uncertainty going into a new league, but I think, what we've seen here, and this is probably one of the best places to have it, with a stadium that's been around, one of the best fields in the league, one of the best supported, clubs that the league will probably see, I think is good for us, and it's something that we need to take advantage of and, again, hit the ground running, because we have the infrastructure, we have the club that is kind of backing the team in the city. So,
with this drop in leagues and everybody being released from their contracts in the last year, there had to be a willingness from yourself and others to want to come back. What is it about this club that made you think you may want to come back and continue your career at a lower level?
Yeah, I think, that's a good question. For me personally, it was a matter of, I knew David very well, and again, we kind of spoke about things that I can do to add value to this group in terms of being a leader and kind of setting a standard and training every day and kind of finding a way to extend my career a little bit. And as a entire club, this club's believed in me, and it's time for me to kind of pay him back and have a good season on the field, because the last 2 seasons were rough, and I understand that's a frustration, and I have to take some responsibility for that.
And even with those last 2 seasons, the results weren't there, but you guys were hanging tough in a lot of games, if not all of them. How do you feel the move down will see you guys change that and maybe start seeing more positive results? But not only that, you guys were at that level last year, so you can be playing above that more or less. Yeah,
I think that's the idea is, being in this league, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We need to have loftier goals. Towards the end of things, the last couple of years in the USL Championship, it was more of a matter of survival and making the most of what we do have, the limited resources at times, compared to, some of the newer teams throughout USL, Louisville, Nashville, and Cincinnati. But for us now, we need to be the more ambitious team. We need to be the team that kind of sets the standard. And as I said, with the fan support and the stadium, in terms of, I've always believed that this is one of the better places to play just because of the field and the fan support. So we need to be one of the more ambitious clubs in that regard in this new league.
And this club having been around for 25 plus years, you guys are going to have that advantage knowing what to expect. This won't be your first time in the 3rd division. It will be a lot of other teams' first seasons. How does that give you a competitive edge?
Yeah, I mean, I've played here when it was, I guess, technically a 3rd-tier club in the past, and, we ran with it. We loved it. We never thought in any way that, we're inferior to others. We went out and made Open Cup runs and did well in that regard. And again, we had a tight-knit group, and, we won the league one of the years I was here, the regular season. And that was just something that we ran with. And we had a group that was bought in, and no matter kind of what the league or what people's personal ambitions were, there was always the idea that when we're here, we're together.